What's up guys, Brandon here for RC Flight School. Today I'm making a video for all you beginner helicopter pilots out there. You can see I have an MCX-2 helicopter out in front of us and a DX6i transmitter in the foreground, so you can see what I'm doing as I'm flying it. You can see the stick movements and how the helicopter reacts. Now this is just an intro vid to get you guys started in how to learn on a helicopter, the proper learning procedure. The biggest thing, the biggest piece of advice I have for you guys is tail control. Tail control on this particular setup is this channel right here. That's also considered rudder control or yaw control, if you want to call it that. Now that's going to point the tail of the helicopter in the direction you want it to go. Also the nose of the helicopter. Now the stick direction points the nose of the helicopter in the same direction. So if I move this stick to the right, the nose of the helicopter is going to go to the right. I call it tail control because that's also what you're controlling, the nose to tail. But again, you want to think of it a little bit easier terms. Think of it as the nose. So if I give her a little throttle here, and I move it to the right, the nose moves to the right. Little throttle to the left, nose moves to the left, like so. So it's very important. And why is it so important? Well, that's pointing the helicopter where you want to go. The tail control is the first thing you want to learn because everything else follows. You first point the nose of the helicopter where you want it, and then you use all the other sticks to have it flying around. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to take off and just do a few simple circles. And you'll see that I'm keeping the rotation of the helicopter, which is nose and tail control, constant. If I didn't do that, the helicopter goes nowhere. Let me demonstrate. So you can see here, I'm just going to do a circle, and I'm constantly turning the nose of the helicopter to keep it doing this circle. Now if I let go of nose control, she just goes off to the side. I'm not moving any of the other sticks, I'm just holding the nose control where I want it. A little bit of throttle modulation to hold it in the air, but really it's all about the nose, or tail if you will. Set her back down. So that's what tail control gives you. It's again pretty much the primary control for a helicopter. Now, after you got used to holding the tail or the nose of the helicopter where you want it, then you can start to fly basic patterns. There I did a circle. Really what you want to practice is doing a square, where you take off, fly forward, stop, turn the nose, fly forward, stop, and draw a square in the sky. That's the basic starting point for flying these helicopters. If you can get good at that and master the nose and tail control, everything else will follow very quickly. Now a quick piece of advice, because I know this is a hot topic for you guys, on landing. You can see I got a small landing pad set up there. When you're dealing with these fixed pitch helicopters in a tiny space, ground effect has a lot to do with how they fly. And ground effect is the air that's underneath the helicopter when it's close to the ground. If I just take off very slightly here and I don't give enough throttle to get away from that green box, you see it's just going to push off to one side. Like so. You can see it falls off the edge of the table there because again, there's ground effect. It's flying on a cushion of air, and because I don't have enough throttle to get away from that cushion of air, it just falls. So it's very important when you're learning to try to take off from certain areas to get away from the ground. This far off. And you can see if I go over the edge of the table, she doesn't fall anymore because now I'm flying off the ground effect. Let's put her back down. A quick note on landing on these kind of surfaces. It's very difficult to get used to landing on a small landing pad like this because as you approach the landing pad, again, the helicopter is going to tend to want to push off. The ground effect is going to want to push it off. So what I call is lead in. You want to lead in your throttle so that as you're approaching the landing pad, you're already ready to cut the throttle. Let me show what I mean. I'm going to take off with the helicopter closer to us, and then I'm going to approach the pad from our angle. And as I get near it, I'm going to start cutting the throttle, and the helicopter will set right down. So we take off, bring the helicopter this way. Now as I approach the pad, I'm already going to reduce throttle right now. You can see that's a little rough, but she popped down. If I were to hold the helicopter over the pad, I'll do it again for you. Bring her up by us, approach the pad and keep the throttle. She's going to push off. You can see again, the ground effect is pushing it all over the place, and I'm fighting it. But if I reduce throttle as I get close, well, if I was right over it, she'll set right down. So there you can see firsthand how ground effect will push the helicopter right off the pad. I cut the throttle, but because it was still being pushed around from ground effect, the helicopter fell over. So that's my short introduction for flying. Now again, nothing beats experience, just getting some time on your helicopter, so make sure you're flying around. Now this little studio set here isn't an ideal place because again, I have a lot of objects that are close by and it gives me a small space. Anything that's near the helicopter in a confined space like this will add to that ground effect and again push a helicopter around and ride its turbulence. So try to learn in a big open area, big basement, big living room, and just get some flight time. Practice your tail control or nose control if you will, and once you've mastered that, you'll be well on your way to becoming a very good helicopter pilot. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We'll see you soon.